Good afternoon. Today I'm working on Mitsubishi Eclipse. What I'm doing is I'll be replacing the front wheel bearing. It's got a noisy front wheel bearing. Anyways, I've already started on it. I'm not doing it myself. We've taken off the front tire and taken off the brake caliper. This comes off with I think it's a 14 millimeter bolt. And then there's this carrier piece that the pads go into, and I think it's held on with a 17 millimeter. Anyways, we had to start that with a breaker bar and then finish it with the ratchet. And right now we will be taking off the brake disc, and then after that we'll have to get this monster nut off, which I hope is going to be easier than I thought. But anyways, I'm going to spray this with some liquid wrench to loosen it, maybe in the front and back, and then we'll give it a try and see how it goes. There, one small problem. There's a screw that holds the disc onto the hub, so we need to take that out using my impact screwdriver, but it's not working at it. So I think what we might have to do is just let that soak for a bit. Your hub will look like. This is the new one, obviously. Looks like it just kind of fits in the back, and then I guess we'll have probably some bolts from the back that hold it in. We first got to take the disc off and then take off that big nut for the axle. Anyways, we got the I think we got that screw out. Yeah, it just came out with a bit, a little bit of encouragement. So anyways, we got our two bolts in here, and I think this thing is pretty much ready to come off because they're loose now. So anyways, we're going to take the disc off, and then we'll have to work on that big nut. Yeah, I don't think our bolt idea worked because it looks like these just stripped. I don't think the holes there are threaded at all. So I think what we're going to do is just take off the nut, and once we get that off, I think then the liquid wrench will have worked its way in. We can pull the hub off. I think there's something wrong with my air compressor. It sprung a leak. But anyways, I just had enough air that I could use my impact to get this big nut off. It's a 32 millimeter. Yeah, trying to use the breaker bar on that is a bit of a pain, but yeah, if you have an impact, that is definitely the way to go. So anyways, now that this is off, I think we can probably, there's some, you can see in the back side here, we've got the bolt on either corner. I think what we'll do is go ahead and see if we can loosen those up, and then this should all come out. There, we got the first two on this side loosened. So now we're just going to crank the wheels to the passenger side so we can get some better access to the other two that are, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there they are. They're kind of in there. There's one at the bottom and one at the top somewhere. So once we get those two out, then we should be able to pull the hub out. And maybe we can get this disc unstuck. There, we got all four of the bolts that are holding the bearing into the steering knuckle. We got those out from the back, but the steering knuckle is stuck, or the bearing is stuck into the steering knuckle pretty good. And we've been pounding on that without much luck. And then we're not having much luck taking the disc off. So I guess our next idea is maybe to take the knuckle off the strut and then take this whole thing out so that we can kind of work on it from the back. And maybe it can be easier to push out that way instead of trying to work on it on the car. Anyways, we'll take a look and see how the professionals did this and do the same thing. Okay, something's making a different sound. Maybe this is coming loose. Let's see. I think I see the bearing coming out. I think Let's see, just a second. Is it? Any hope? Any hope? Do I see a gap there? I don't know. I think we might have. There, one important thing to remember is to be very careful when you're tapping on the end of this axle. I kind of messed the threads up a little bit. Anyways, I managed to get the nut back on, so I'm just going to leave that on while we mess around in the area. And hopefully I can get it back on when we go to put the car together. Otherwise, I'll be looking at replacing the axle. Yeah, I've tried a couple things on the rotor, on the stuck rotor from hell. One is to get a bigger hammer and to hit between the bolts. That hasn't budged it. And after copious amounts of liquid wrench. Now the other thing I'm going to do is see if I can put a bolt and nut on the back and just use that to pry out the rotor that way. Maybe this will work on taking the hub out of the spindle, or take the bearing out of the hub as well. We'll see how this works. There, that screw and or that bolt and nut trick seemed to do it for the disc. That came off. So I guess the next thing is to get this hub out. We've been kind of pounding on the edge here with a punch. See if we can kind of work it loose. Lots of liquid wrench. Otherwise, the only option is to take this whole thing apart again. There, we got the old bearing out, but we had to take a hacksaw and just kind of cut the old bearing just right on these two top lugs, and then get at it with the big sledgehammer and the punch in order to work it out. But we're able to do that without having to take this thing out of the car, so that's a plus. Now we just need to clean this up a little bit, so we got a nice seat for this new bearing here. So we'll get that done, get it in, and just see how it goes together. All right, we got the surface all cleaned up and the new one in. We just have to get all the bolts lined up and tightened, and then once we're done that, then the brakes can go back on and we should be finished. There, the big nut is torqued up. I guess it goes up to about 165 or 167 foot-pounds. You can find all the torques for the different bolts on this. I guess it's called rockfordcv.com. It's from the Mitsubishi forums. Anyways, if you don't have the Haynes manual, which we don't have for this 2007, you can find all the torques on there, so you know what to torque everything to. Alright, the brake calipers are on, or the brake caliper. The only thing left would be to, and everything's torqued up, the only thing left is to clean up the tools, put the tire back on, and then take it for a test drive and see if that rumbling sound still happens when we go around a corner. There, I'm not sure if this is from the wear or if this is from beating on this thing to get out, but there is quite a bit of wear on here, or a lot of play. One way or another, this bearing had to be replaced. Oh, no noise, eh? Okay, that's good. I think we got this fixed. Oh, you can say another car fit or another job done.